Okay, we're live. Thank you everybody for waiting for us. We got a special one for you today, and I can't wait. I really can't wait to show you guys what we've got for you. So, we are joined by the Metaverse Artisans, and it's quite an amazing thing what they've been doing individually as well as a group. And so we're gonna have their links in the description for you to go and follow them. But we're just gonna jump right into it because we've got a lot to show today. So we just want to do some quick intros and then get things kicked right off. We're going to jump into VR and do a live demo and everything. So yeah, I just want to introduce the Metaverse Artisans officially. And if we could just start with Ben and maybe just go one by one, if you could say your name and where you're based, and yeah, let's just go from there.
All right, hey everybody, I'm Ben, and I'm originally from Los Angeles, but I'm based in Munich now, and I'll pass it over to Christian.
Hi guys, I'm Christian Venables, based in the UK. I'll pass it over to Kuba.
I'm Kuba and I'm muted. And also based in Amsterdam and originally from Poland. And I'm passing it to Greg.
Gregg Johnson from Lincoln, Nebraska. And I'm going to tag Nick.
Hi, I'm Nick Graveley and originally from the UK, but living in Munich now, also, as well as Ben. And I'll pass it over to Tammy.
Hi, it's Tammy here. I'm based in Europe, Romania, and really excited to be here today.
Who's next?
Oh, and sorry, yeah, passing it to Isabel here.
Hi guys, my name is Isabel and I'm based in New Jersey. I'm passing it to Manu.
Hello, I'm Manu. I'm from Montreal, and I'm based in Montreal. I'll pass it to JJ.
Oh,
First
hi
child.
everyone. I'm JJ. I live in Seoul, Korea. And next, who's next? Nick?
Sorry, what was the question? I was distracted by my.
The other Nick.
What's your name, Nick? Where are you based?
I'm sorry, I've already been.
Oh, okay.
But there's another Nick.
I think it's me, Nyko, right?
Oh, sorry.
So yeah, no, it's okay.
Jump right into VR. So you all can get your headsets and get yourself situated. And I'm gonna move the feed over to our VR view. And I think I'm echoing. I don't know if that's coming through on the stream or not, but if someone's speaker might be a bit louder. Let's see. Okay, we got the feed going there. So this is an interesting one. We've got a space set up here in Colab with everybody in VR, and we're gonna be building the future of tomorrow on Mars. I don't know if any of you Metaverse Artisans want to give a little bit more context, but
maybe I can do a little briefing. Yeah, so we thought that we can find a common ground here on another planet and do a quick showcase of maybe how the future cities will be built using collaborative VR. So we decided to put this glass dome that maybe you can already see in one of the craters or on Mars, and use this as our kind of boundaries, limitations, in what we can build both in footprint and in height. This dome in our scenario is helping us to make the planet inhabitable, so people can actually live there, and maybe even vegetation can grow under such a big dome. Probably there are still some challenges that, for example, or characteristics like different gravity or other conditions we looked into. And every artisan here, we divided the terrain into 10 parts, So every person gets a little piece of the cake, and every bit has a different function. So we try to imagine different functions in the city and try to translate these functions into quick designs that can at the end give us somehow a piece of outer space city.
Awesome. Yeah, it's. I want to also say, for anyone watching the live, if you have any questions and you want to ask any of the Metaverse Artisans or myself anything, please put it in the chat on YouTube, and I'll be watching that and happy to answer any of your questions. So ask away at any point. We'll be going for 2 hours, just because this is a bit more complex of a project that we've got going here than our normal live sketches. So if you're able to stay with us for the long haul, please, please do and ask all of your questions. But we understand if not. This will be available after the live stream is over, so you can go back and watch it if you miss anything. And I'm just switching through different views here. So right now we've got this dome on a Mars surface inside Colab, and as Kuba was mentioning, they're going to be creating different. Each person is assigned a different aspect or different section of this dome city, and we're going to be seeing that unfold as well. We'll show a cool sort of bird's eye view of this process after the event's over. But it's just amazing that we have this many people in Colab as well. I'm thinking like it's going to be really interesting to see once all of the elements start coming together in the city. And this to me is what always just blows my mind with Colab. How everybody can just be in completely, I mean, you heard in the beginning, like everyone's in a completely different place. And the fact that we're all working together in the same like spatial environment is just wild.
Yeah, so a little, if I think you can hear me. Yeah, we took an inspiration for the plan of the city from the idea of garden city. So do you have this radiant floor? Well, yeah, urban plan that goes into different sections of the city. So we have a bit of a retro futuristic inspiration here. Yeah, just to give a little shout out to the classics.
At some point, we won't show it yet, but at some point, we also do have a feed of this environment being fed into Kria, which if any of you out there are not familiar with Kria, it's a new AI platform, and we can actually link to that as well. That allows you to, it actually has several tools available to you, but one of them is you can give a live feed of any program you're using, whether it's Blender or in this case Gravity Sketch, and it will generate an AI. It will create an AI generated interpretation of what you're feeding into it, and you can guide it with a prompt. You can adjust the strength. I'll show all of that a little bit later, but once we actually have a city more to look at in terms of like elements in a city. But it's really quite amazing, and I think like a great example of how you can use the power of AI for iteration and idea generation.
How's everybody doing?
Yeah, how's everybody doing out there?
The guy.
Good.
Yeah.
It's always,
always the first
in
step,
beginning.
the most difficult.
Yeah, sorry, Kuba, go ahead.
No, I was just saying that the first steps are usually the most difficult ones. Where do we start?
Exactly.
Yeah, this is why I love Live Sketch, because it's just super, it's super raw and real, and we really want to show people the true process of designing and creating, it's not very glamorous and very clean. It's a lot of back and forth and tearing it down and starting over again. And even the best of the best, like we have here today, the Metaverse Artisans, it's a work in progress. And I hope that it's encouraging for anybody out there that's more of a beginner or a student, that feels self-conscious about their process or their creative process. It's messy, and it's really truly special when you arrive at something that you really resonate with. And I believe we're going to get there today, but you're just on the journey with us, discovering it as we discover it. So. And maybe at some point as well for you guys, for Metaverse Artisans, I'll share my feed of Korea, and then maybe that can help generate some more ideas down the line if you guys are interested in that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Let's see. We've got a question. How many people are in this room, in this collab room? Oh shoot! How many of you are there? I forgot the head count.
It's 10. It's exactly
Yep.
10 people.
10 of us.
JJ, I love what you're doing over here with this tree. I had this exact idea, but now that you're doing it, I'm gonna go in somewhat of a different route. But I love it.
We're just hopping between the views here.
And Christian, yours is looking sick as usual.
Just so you know, you're muted, JJ, just in case you didn't know.
JJ, do you want to talk about your what you're thinking so far? Can't tell if he's muted though.
Yes, he's muted.
Might be muted. It's okay. We'll come back to JJ. But Christian, why don't you go?
Sorry.
Oh,
She's here.
Sure. So I like to start with like a certain profile first. So this is what I'm working on at the moment. It's just a nice section piece here. So I'll just grab this. Yeah, nice section with some really nice smooth corners and some this nice sort of indent running its way through. And you can actually just be really sculptural with it and do some really nice sweeping forms to actually just to play around. So this is just sort of a rough sculpture just to get the first piece out the way. And now I'm doing sort of a horizontal version of this that's going to be sort of just one floor plan, one level, and then going to sort of array upwards and do some really cool parametric things. So yeah.
Awesome. I love it. JJ, it seems like you're back. Do you want to talk a little bit about what you're thinking?
This is my work. I'm building I'm so sorry. My English is still terrible. So
Oh, it's all
let me
right.
think.
I'm very, very excited to see how it unfolds. It's looking really nice though.
This is I'm designing building inspired by giant tree, and here people in here in the center. This is sharing space, and here is people can live in a private space.
Awesome. I love it. I can't wait to see more of it develop. It's going to be it already looks really cool. like this sort of like tree form. I love it.
Thank you. Oh, people might miss Earth's nature things, so I made this.
Let's see here. We got a couple questions. There are several asking, what's the reason behind the nomenclature Artisans for you guys? How did you guys come up with that name, Metaverse Artisans?
Ben, do you want to?
Yeah, you take that, Ben. You take that.
Well, what happened? It was at the time, of course, when we see ourselves as, I guess, like the new kind of these artists, these creators in this time of all this digital world building, basically, and we're using tools like Gravity Sketch. We're still working with our hands. We're still working intuitively and in this way. I think, as I remember, because it was Kuba and Christian at the time when we started first talking about it. That's where I remember us getting looking at different words, which ones kind of like fit to how we work, what we're trying to build and create. But Christian, jump on in. Let me.
Yeah, I think it's the duality. It's the modern, word of metaverse. But we also wanted to keep the handcrafted element that artisanal crafts sort of still have and maintain today. Because we think it is really important to be able to hold on to that, and especially with everything, the way how fast things are moving with generative AI and being able to make and generate 3D models so quickly. Everything that we're building here has our own personal touch. So we've got different backgrounds, we've got automotive, we've got architecture, we've got clothing. There's so many different backgrounds, and we all bring our own style, and we all can see who's done what work without even seeing the person stood next to us. So yeah, we want to maintain that.
And I think one extra layer to it, we have also to give credit to Don Allen III. I think the actual name was brought up, I think, after another conversation with ChatGPT about how should we organize this. So at the beginning, we also were working with Don Allen to figure out things about Metaverse Artisans. So he also had his influence on the name. But yeah, in principle, we really see ourselves as kind of people that mix new tools with very old school approach. After all, I think what we're doing here is almost like sitting in a clay workshop and pushing things out with our hands, instead of typing formulas in parametric geometry nodes or grasshopper interface. So that's the story.
That's amazing. It's just incredible to me, all of you coming from different backgrounds, different industries, and I think this is just a testament to probably the desire that so many out there have to work with others that are not in the same, I guess, lane, you could say, as them, but to really collaborate. I have a sense that there's probably more out there that would like to do work like this, and I would encourage all of you to cross the boundaries, walk over the line and find others out there in the community. I mean, especially with social media today. It's easier now more than ever to find others out there just willing to create and collaborate together, and you don't even have to both be in the same industry. And so I'm very inspired by you guys coming together like this to just create, honestly, but maybe even something that's useful as well for our future and thought-provoking. I just love that. Let's see.
Yeah, I mean, I think you really you really just spoke to what it was for me. Like finding this group coming together was definitely about me finding my people, those that like to do the same stuff that I like to do, and that was definitely a community that came together online. That's not something that I found in the office or even with other creatives. Like it definitely happened with this group through one big project that we wanted to do together for fun, and then the group just stayed together.
That's awesome.
I agree with Ben, and I think especially after the post-pandemic situation where we have to stay home and make a lot of digital friends as well. A lot of people in the group we never met in person, but we see each other more often than real people. And on the opposite side, it also sparked some in real life meetings. So, for example, I was able to meet Christian and Kuba not too long ago in person through other avenues as well. And like, I think a lot of us are also working on freelance projects and other artistic endeavors in other mediums, and being able to even give props to each other or support each other on social media when you know that this is something so niche that sometimes you ask yourself, is it even worth continuing? And having this mental support and having a group is so important these days.
That's so true. It's important now more than ever because of the fact that we're all so remote around the world. I mean, just like everybody in general. But tools like this make it so powerful. I think I would predict that we're going to see a lot more of these, I guess, micro communities popping up, and there's probably more of them out there than we even know about. You guys, the Metaverse Artisans, have been very public and with your content, but I wonder how many more might be out there hiding, collaborating in the in the shadows. If you're out there,
show yourself.
Reach out to us.
Yeah,
and then join the
Metaverse.
Guys, I'm gonna just drop off and restart my machine because it's super slow and glitchy. So I think it must just be me. So I'm just gonna restart.
It's not just you, Nick. I also have some issues.
Okay.
It's super impossible.
Yeah, that's
the way I'm running it. Okay, I'll be back.
Okay, see you in a minute, Nick. Yeah, I guess maybe we just be careful, I guess, with the objects we're making in Gravity Sketch, but yeah, I don't know if that's a contributing factor. It could be. And 10 is also our
Gravity Sketch servers to work for us now. Clean the rest.
and the 10, for those out there watching, 10 people in collab is definitely the higher end of our collab cap. I think we hope to we've tested greater top ends in terms of that, but it's definitely the cap for the typical collab session. It's not the cap, but it's the higher end, I guess I should say. But it's still amazing how good everything looks. I mean, from my view on Screen Collab, it looks super smooth. Let's see here. Nitish, how can one brush be a part of this? I'd love to jump flaunt some Gravity Sketch skills. Oh yeah, some are asking about joining in on this. That's a great question. I think we need to think about ways that we can bring more members of the community in on a collab session. I think Live Sketch is a great place to maybe do something like that, where we just pick some random people and bring them in to collab to work together. That's definitely an idea that we've had go around in the past. But Nitish, if you're looking to collaborate with people, I definitely would go check out our Gravity Sketch Discord. As a matter of fact, I'll grab a link for that real quickly and share that in the chat. Tons of active community in there, and I think there's a lot of people that are willing to share their landing pad email, and you can just connect with them and jump into a collab session. I think you'd find people are more willing than not to jump into collab and just play around and have some fun. So I definitely encourage that. Let me see if I can grab that link really quick to our Discord. I could share that. Let's see here. And any more questions that anyone has, please feel free to ask. Nitish, it looks like you're in the Discord. Awesome.
We are also a relatively open group. We are willing to get new members, so we can also design things together. We're mostly just trying to get people that are really dedicated, so that if we organize an event, that people show up. Also, we are looking for nice people because we try to have nice conversations while building. So if you're not a nice person, it's not gonna work. But maybe if you work on your niceness.
That's a good one. Yeah.
We try to get people that are a bit more familiar with Gravity Sketch, so we can have more complex models. Nothing crazy, but that at least sub-D modeling is not something completely alien to them. And that we can also get some clean models, because sometimes we try to use the models, for example, for spatial worlds, and there you need to be a bit ready to get your models optimized.
That's a good. You've heard it here first, everyone. Invite by the Metaverse Artisans. You can join the team.
And to other groups that are just not showing themselves yet, show yourselves and let's get a battle build next time. We divide the planet in two. And we do 20 people.
I think our first build, right? That was more people when we built an entire city. That was an Earth city that time. I think that was like maybe 15, yeah. And we had big conversations during the build because we had to say everyone got to keep it. We're keeping low poly. There was all these rules, and it worked out. We got the room, for 2 hours before it started becoming too much to handle. But that was a good one.
That was the biggest, highest poly build I've ever seen in my life. After it, I looked at the scene and I was like, "What the heck did we just build?" Like 20 people working on one thing.
Yeah, that was
a
crazy.
monster mesh.
Because you couldn't keep track of it, right? Like you'd be working on your stuff and then you turn around and there was just like a city is growing every time you turn your head back behind you. Yeah, and then we were so split up, doing the different like residential or financial district and this and that. And so every time you just turn around and see all this new magical stuff just being there, it was wild.
It's funny. That's really truly a phenomenon of working in collab like this in VR, because in the creative process, as is happening right now, each of you are responsible for your own sort of piece, and so you're really like focusing in. You really hyper focus, and then because there's other people, it's like you realize, oh yeah, there's all this other stuff happening. It's really cool.
Definitely. It reminds me of when I was done with, so I was already out of my master's, but I heard that I think college students and stuff started working together to take notes in class. So they'd use Google Docs. So the notes are just exploding in real time. And I was always thinking I wish I could have worked that way. That's so cool. It's so efficient. And now I do work that way, but just with it's not notes. It's really cool stuff. We're building stuff. And
yeah, it is really cool stuff. And I'm just looking at Korea here. I'll give a little sneak. I'll show a little bit of what we're looking at here. So I'm going to switch the feed over. And fade. There we go. So everyone that's watching, you can see this is Krea.ai, and you can go on here. It's open beta, so it's completely free right now, and you can just go and play with this right now. But I have a feed, a Gravity Sketch live feed, with a little prompt down here: futuristic cityscape on Mars surface, and then it's just iterating in real time based on my view. You'll notice if I just go here and zoom in a bit, you'll see it changes the result on the right side. So I can zoom in a bit. And then on the bottom, it's really tiny, but there's a little blue slider. And if I slide that down, it starts to adhere more to the image that's being generated on the left side. So it's less
Very Dune-like right now. It's cool.
Yeah, it's really.
I have just a little intermezzo, if I may. Artisans, remember, please, if you're working with sub-Ds, to work with the lowest or max the medium subdivision level, because otherwise we'll go mental with the geometry complexity. Nyko, I think yours are a bit, at least were a bit too beautiful.
Good shout.
Thank you, and sorry, you can guys come back to the free madness.
No worries, it's a good shout. We want to make sure that things are performing good. So, but yeah, I just wanted to show everyone the Krea feed there. We can revisit that later, but I just wanted to give a little sneak peek of that.
That's looking cool.
I think something that's pretty cool about Krea is the speed at which they were able to implement the LCM technology for live real-time AI. And I think it was the fastest research to product this year, after Gaussian splatting taking almost 2 months and a half to come into everyone's phone. Krea implementing LCM was pretty fast. Now everybody can play with it in different applications, of course, but making this UI very accessible to people and opening their website to a lot of subscription very early allowed everyone to now have fun and playing with different mediums. We've seen people, doing a live Photoshop or doodling on their paper and ink. We've seen people using Play-Doh and Gravity Sketch, and playing in 3D is definitely a direct imagination for us in this group, because we often play with AI and 3D, and mixing XR and AI is so fun when you get to be able to play like this without restrictions. I think it also tap into our brainstorming capabilities. Being able to be in Gravity Sketch allow you to go quickly from idea to concept, and with Krea you can see a final result at the same time, which can help you while you're still prototyping to push forward the agenda and get really close to what you want to really make at the end. So it's a really cool tool to combine with Gravity Sketch, I think.
Yeah, I'm super excited to see what other people do with it. And it's only this. I think we're just scratching the surface with this stuff. I can't help but think.
Oh yeah.
Because I'm wondering about what's the next step, what's the next iteration. I think obviously it gets faster, and even more real time, which is just crazy to think about already. And what if this was integrated into Gravity Sketch? I'm not saying that we're doing that, and I think we're not. I can actually absolutely say that we're not. But it's an interesting idea. It's an interesting thought, and
that's a good point.
If anybody out there would like to see that, let us know.
It would be fun, for example, to see what everybody's seeing on YouTube as like a floating window.
I have my hand up.
We have Greg saying yes.
Yeah, I think it would be incredibly powerful. And that's just coming from me personally. I'm not speaking for the rest of the Gravity Sketch team, but yeah, I think it'd be extremely powerful. I think it's really interesting to see how these types of tools will integrate. I think that's another thing, is integration. I think that's something we talked about in our little sync last week, was probably the next step with these tools is more integration and sort of cross-platform pollination there going on. because there's a lot of standalone stuff right now, and I think that's really the only way that we can really experiment and get things out there for people to try. But then I think almost the next phase or the next paradigm shift maybe is just a crazy integration of these amazing tools being developed.
I can tell you that there's a lot of really cool stuff coming down the pipeline over at VisCom.
That's right. Nyko's over at VisCom. I don't know if you want to give a little bit of a teaser for us, or can't say.
I can't say too much, but I will say that there are some very cool updates coming, and for any of you who've been using VisCom, you'll probably know that we move really fast. We're very responsive to user feedback and workflows, and listening to kind of what the needs are, especially for like, the workflow and making sure that it fits within the workflow. So, but there's some really cool stuff that we've heard from the users, and we're not far off from implementing them. So
that's awesome.
Definitely check it out and follow it. That's pretty much all I can say. I wish I could be more explicit, but yeah.
I think that's exciting, especially since VisCom is also in one of those tools that I see as part of that tool belt of quick prototyping, idea to result. And yeah, since the beginning, it's been revolutionizing already architecture and almost the same industry, I think, as Gravity Sketch. And it's cool to see how it works in collaboration with Gravity Sketch as well. I think, Ben, you published something recently where you were using VisCom and then, but coming from a visual that you'd done in Gravity Sketch and then making it come to life thanks to VisCom.
Yeah, definitely. I did am I muted? No, okay. Yeah, I did a couple of experiments with VisCom that were they're so awesome, and even just bringing my old sketches back to life. Like I was saying how I was using these AI tools, and like that's someone who like loves sketching. I kind of stopped because I was thinking like, well, I can get farther, I can experiment faster by just prompting. And then through VisCom, I even took, you could like whatever, you take your Gravity Sketch screenshots, you take your like sketches, and you can really just take that a lot farther, and still like I start to feel a lot more involved in that part of the process again of the sketching part. So that was really cool. Yeah, I just love to experiment like in like every direction here. Like the current thing that I'm loving is just like your Gravity Sketch process, and then in Korea, and it's just so cool to just. It's like you're jumping back and forth between like the process of building and like the beginning, and then like something that looks like a final product, and just it's an insane imaginative tool and process.
I think that speaks into the name Artisans again, and explaining really where it comes from, where it's like no boundaries between traditional and physical. And I remember having this conversation with a student where people were really afraid of AI in a way that it would replace, traditional form of art or artists directly. Obviously, we've all been thinking the same early on and being also scared of new technologies. But at the same time, when you embrace them so fast and you're able to almost uncover new workflows, it's actually encouraging, because the same way photography pushed artists outside of traditional art painting and creating new art style and abstract art and so on, I feel like with these tools, we're tapping into a new form of art that don't exist yet. Being able to have real-time AI relationships with your brainstorm process in 3D is quite unique, and I don't think we ever saw that before in human history. So where it's going is definitely something to watch, because we're seeing these art forms evolve in real time.
That's so true. That's a really good point to bring up. Like, we're seeing these things change rapidly in real time, like what you said there. And yeah, pay attention, because it's changing fast. I want to ask a question to the group. Things are changing so quickly, and are these emerging tools and all these different workflows. What do you think the things that will not change and will always be there in the creative process? What do you think those pillars are?
Human collaboration is definitely one of them. we won't be too removed from the process. I honestly think that what we're doing right now and mixing things that don't normally get mixed or is just unique, like mixing styles or personal taste or just different ideas, like coming in and actually coming out of your comfort zone in this collaborative environment, pushing yourself. I think that is absolutely something that will stay and stick around. It's awesome.
Yeah, I think
Yeah, and
human
I think
value is
also,
definitely. Go ahead.
I was gonna say just like real also true creativity, like really novel, I think, ideas pushing that boundary versus how AI is really good at remixing things that already exist. So I think it's still up to us to push. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. Oh, we're actually, Manuel, you're going to say something. I was curious what you're going to say there.
No, that's actually very related to what Ben was saying. I went into a video last time that was talking about the concept of AI eating itself, because eventually it keeps on getting trained on the same things and more content is being generated. So obviously the training data as it keeps evolving is almost in a concept like swallowing itself and eating itself. So at some point the output becomes very dull. And so it's up to us as humans to push what we want there to exist. And I think all of us in this place can speak on this, but since generative AI came out, if anything, our own creativity kept on growing. And it's a good tool to see as something that you can go back and forth with that pushes yourself and to think outside of the box. But ultimately, it's also an opportunity to showcase things that don't yet exist, especially if you come from a specific culture or a specific background or you have a specific skill. A lot of your data maybe don't exist on the internet yet. And there is room for telling those stories, for showing those narratives, for projecting those visuals, those patterns. And when you think of 3D and spatial computing, even more so, it's an opportunity to preserve that culture in a digital way and help future generation of AI to train on this. So I think if anything, the skills of remaining human and playing with your hands and collaborating, like Christian was saying, critical thinking, every soft skill that used to be seen as soft skill, even in the naming, it's kind of a weird naming, as if it's less important than hard skills. But those are the things you need to keep going. Being able to be social, being a nice person, like Kuba said, being able to putting yourself out there, to be courageous, to be brave. Those skills are not going to be taught by AI. So you need to keep on practicing that. The rest, creativity and creation in itself, that's something that keeps on evolving no matter what medium it falls into.
100%.
Yeah, that's really good, guys. It's very thought provoking, and yeah, I think I agree. It's those core fundamentals of because it's like you guys said, you know, the things that the AI are trained on. It's really just it's a feedback of what has already been created, and so you could theorize, and I guess you could also maybe show by example that whatever AI generates is just, you know, it's an echo of what someone else has created somewhere, and to be truly new and pushing beyond what we've thought before, you know, that has to come from somewhere else, and so AI is maybe just that. It's almost like I sometimes think of AI as like a pedal assisted bike. You know, it's like it's like you're bicycling, but it's like, you know, it's assisting you in that creative process, but it's not meant to, you know, replace or to build on my analogy, I guess. Like it's you're still pedaling. You know, you still have to pedal the bike, and you know, but it's not going to completely take over. And we're just talking about pedal assisted bikes, staying on this analogy. But yeah, you guys understand what I'm saying. I think everybody understands what I'm saying. It's just, it's, you know, it's only meant to help assist in that process. And I think that the more we have these conversations, the better we'll understand the creative process itself and get down to, I guess, the most essentially what's important, which I think is what all of you have been saying, is it's almost like through these innovations we've really understood more clearly like what a unique idea is, and what it means to create something new, and what it means to be what it means to create even. And so yeah, that's just fascinating to me.
I think one of the other aspects is like there's one human element that in design has often been like kind of overlooked, because the designer's role, you know, there's like the designer, then there's a director in a lot of functions. And one of the things that's overlooked is this whole notion of curation, right? So now all of a sudden, you know, you're not spending, you can do 500 ideations of an idea, like of an initial sketch, in a few hours. But then you need, you know, you have to have the human skills to curate it, to go through and say, you know, this is good, this is good,
Hey,
this is
guys,
not.
I'm not sure if you can hear me or if I'm interrupting. Could someone just let me know?
Oh yeah, we can hear you.
We can hear you. Yep. And so like the human element of curation is now even more important, and the actual designer can be a curator at the same time, because they can generate so many more ideas. They can ensure in a way that what they're going to present, they've really vetted it. That's one of the really kind of the cool things with like all of this this emerging technology, is it enables the designer a little bit more control, because they know, okay, like I've already explored like 500 other ideas, and so these really are ones that correspond and will kind of hit the target. And so I'm kind of excited to see in the future if we're going to have even better design, or if we're going to kind of, I'm really curious what's going to happen. Are we going to have better design, or are we going to have even more nonsensical design? I think that's going to be a really interesting situation to kind of monitor.
Yeah, this was touched on a bit. We had our festival, a 3D design festival, just recently. And for everybody watching, definitely encourage you to go check that out. Those are now on our YouTube as well, on its own playlist. You can check it out around 2023. But there was some conversation around this. It reminds me, I think maybe Ross Lovegrove said it, but I'm not entirely sure. I could be wrong, but I think he was touching on this topic of AI, and a little bit of what you said there, Nyko, of you know, is it just more nonsensical design, or is it, you know, what's it going to be adding? And I think he was saying, you know, with AI, it's very easy to create more useless stuff, because AI itself doesn't know what anything is. You know, it's just trained on, you know, color, image, shape, you know, recognition and association, and can understand based off prompting, you know, to create certain things. But beyond that, it doesn't have an understanding. And so because of that, you know, it's an idea generator, and can almost maybe even trick the prompter, or trick the designer into thinking, oh, this should be a thing, this should exist, because of the fact that it's, you know, being presented in this visually realistic way or something, and not even considering the fact, like, you know, why am I making this? Why am I generating this? And what's the real need and use for this? And getting a lot more intentional with what we're creating in the first place.
The Jurassic Park thing, right? So preoccupied with if we could, we didn't think about if we should. But it's interesting on so many levels, like what you're saying, because AI isn't just, you know, Dolly, Midjourney, and all that stuff. It's also these like incredibly research-driven tools. I think what we want to get to, what I want there to be, is not jumping between all these different tools, but just to have something where I can I can, ask a question, I can iterate, I can do everything in a tool that's at least connected to other tools so that I can get the best output. Because even before all this AI hype, I don't know if you guys have seen this, I was mesmerized, like this is like years ago. So before any talk of, GPT and Dolly, but there was, I saw this, like this team working with AI in cars. So they had all these sensors and they raced the car for a full week and they saw where all the pain points were, like where was it taking the most pressure in the turns and this and that. And then they used all this data and like to start building a car that was, for instance, more durable because it knew exactly where those issues were. And I think I mean I don't want to I'm going to quote this wrong, whatever. I'll say, I think it was Adobe, again, like years before this AI hype, they were giving all this data about drones, for instance, to this AI, and was like, design a new drone. And it comes out with like 1,000 designs for a drone that are just based off of like the needs. Like it's doing like, okay, like, well, it has all of the needs that it needs to meet in terms of like low weight but a strong material but this and that, and then it starts to come up with not just designs that are just for the point of designs or just to look like something, but actually to solve a purpose, like using data that it's gotten itself, like that. I think that's going to be really interesting when it's not just like this like creative like, oh, this looks cool so therefore I should build it, but this actual like this
Purpose.
is why, purpose. And I think that's what's so interesting in the concept of what I'm so excited about is like AI being used in medicine, because like for instance a doctor only knows what the doctor is specialized in or which books and papers that doctor has read. But when you're like democratizing like your medical help through an AI that all the AIs are all trained on, they all know every case, like that's when that stuff gets so interesting. So I think okay, that was a lot of stuff for me just to say, like all of this information and all of this stuff coming together, I think it's going to be super interesting, and it's just that's when it's like so useful to us and empowering us as these like creative directors, not just with what is a creative idea, but what is the best solution, what does the research say, what is everything coming together. I think that's going to be fantastic.
I agree with you, Ben. I think the value is not just to see it from the concept of art, but also design, like you said, which usually is art with a purpose and a mission. What's the problem you're trying to solve? And being able to tap into different data points and large amount of data is what the human brain is not really good at, and what has been historically built on. And it's funny because when you think about the question that philosophers were asking themselves in the antiquity, like can machine think, and now we are at a point where obviously the the line is very blurry into what's consciousness and what's real thoughts. But just being able to tap into something else that have access to other amount of information and be able to query that's a superpower. And I agree with Ben. I think even though it's always fun to collaborate with different tools and play with different softwares and combine mediums, there is also power into control. And I think artists right now are really waiting for AI to mature and become a tool that keeps the artist in control, that gives more control to artists. That's why I think the interface and the human computer interface component is so important, and being able to design a good UI and a good UX is going to empower people. But when you start tapping and converging these different tools between each other and having AI that can communicate with other AI tools, we're going to start seeing very amazing use cases, and not just curing cancers or the diseases and problems like that, but also on creative side, like Ben said, solving real problems. Like architecture was never just about visuals and look, but also sustainability and future proofing. And it's not for nothing that we're building this idea on Mars, because maybe some of the design made today in Graveley Sketch might inspire some architects for the future. Who knows?
I love that, guys. Yeah, that's I think that's just like such important sort of, I would say, thought leadership to cover with these topics, because I think so many people just aren't sure how to process, how to think about it. And not that we need to tell them how to think, but maybe by having these discussions, it helps give people a
Oh,
frame
Jared,
of
we
mind.
know nothing. We absolutely know nothing. But I think the fact that we all know nothing together and in a support group that can
Yeah.
keep those conversations up is pushing the agenda and getting
Yeah.
us closer to knowing something.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. We're about at the halfway mark. So I wonder if you don't have to go through everyone. If you're working and you don't really want to like talk about it yet, that's totally fine. But whoever is willing and wants to, if they feel like they want to talk a little bit about what they've got going, um, and just share a little bit behind their thinking, we can give you the stage and describe a little bit about what you're building. Does anybody want to volunteer?
I can go. By no means I'm proud of my work yet, but maybe that will be the testament of. It doesn't have to be perfect so that we can talk about it still.
Okay, sure. Yeah, go right ahead, Kuba.
Yeah, am I live?
Yes,
Okay.
you're on the feed.
So I've been kind of going against what you were saying just now, guys, because I've been going purely visual, thinking how I can play here with the materials in this ridiculous tower, that it gets a nice contrast. Because there is some thinking behind it. If Mars has like from what I read, 38% of gravity that we have on Earth, that means we can very easily transport things up and down. And if my part of the town is responsible for storage and supply depot, I would really like to go vertical, and then that's some kind of drones are delivering supplies to the whole city. And when we're going tall, it's nice to have something that is slender and sexy and feels smaller than it maybe is. So that was my thinking here. I'm struggling, I'll be honest. And the being live usually puts some extra pressure, but we're getting there. So that's where I am for now.
If I say there's no pressure, does that help?
No, absolutely not.
Yeah.
Do you think because Mars has less gravity, it's better to use Gravity Sketch?
The official sponsor of Mars.
They invested 38% in Mars.
That's amazing. Who wants to go next?
I'll go then.
Cool.
Buy everyone else a little time. All right. So I have.
I needed it.
Sure.
I needed a little bit extra time to show you guys this.
I have a little bit of a chaotic workflow, especially when I do these. So I basically started with a building that has legs, and my thought process there was I was inspired by a little bit of StarCraft, how all those buildings in that video game move. And they don't have legs, but I just thought it would be fun if the buildings, so not all the decisions need to be so final. They can be a little mobile. And then after that, I started getting, started working on like this hospital a little bit, which is a mobile hospital. That's the concept. Going a little bit with what Kuba was saying, moving vertically. I thought it'd be funny if not funny. I thought it'd be fun. I thought it'd be cool to be mobile, and it's not always like, oh, you have to get to the hospital. Maybe if you have an appointment, the hospital comes to you. It'll head over to your section. It can move vertically along these walls. So just mobility, maybe some drones pop out of that. That was the more, yeah, I think all of them, I'm going in a little bit of a whimsical direction in terms of movement, yeah, and mobility within the dome here. So yeah.
I love that. That's so cool. That's really interesting. I think that's very unique. I've never even like thought of that before. like a hospital that can be like moved around like that on a like on an arm. It's super cool.
Yeah, and then it would be hopefully smooth enough because of the arm. It's all nice and gyroscopes and shocks and everything's really smooth and you don't even feel it when you're in there. That's the concept.
That's awesome. If anybody has any questions, just a reminder, feel free to ask. I'm continuing to watch the chat, so if you've got anything, shoot it out there.
I'd like to ask a question, if that's all right, Chairman.
Yeah, right. Go ahead, Nick.
So you may have noticed that I'm no longer wearing my headset. I think Manuel and I both had some technical issues.
Oh no!
But actually, I'd like to have the conversation about hardware because nobody really talks about what the minimum spec is and like what's really necessary. Now, and I don't know now if this is because so I was glitching out really badly, and I've got a 3070 RTX gaming chip in here. I mean, is it to do with RAM as well, or is it to do with network speed? Like, what are the primary drivers of that glitching that we have? Is there a hierarchy that we can start to look at?
I think, from my knowledge, from my interactions with our product team, our engineers, those types of issues, I think, ultimately just come down to internet or like network. And the data transfer is the real issue, and the data transfer being smooth enough from basically what's happening in the collab space, and then that being updated in your headset at a reasonable rate. And so I think it comes down to network with that stuff. As far as my understanding, obviously I'm not on the product team. But from my understanding and having these conversations, I think it has more to do with network and not as much to do with performance of your device.
Okay. Yeah. Do you guys have a recommendation of
just for a second? For me, the RAM plays a big role. So if I have it running together with Chrome with like 10 tabs and maybe OneDrive is synchronizing in the background, it influences it a lot. But probably network would be the main reason.
Okay.
Yeah, I bet RAM's a driver. I am looking at my screen and seeing how many things. Now, granted, I'm not actually in VR at the moment. I've got Screen Collab, I've got Korea, I've streaming, and I'm in a Google Meets call. It's pretty amazing how this is actually working. I think it's network, Nick, but I think RAM has something to do with it, because I mean it is true that when the more objects you bring into the space, it can start to slow things down and make it choppy. But I wonder why that's happening to you guys and not everyone else. How's everyone else experiencing right now? This is a good live sort of feedback as well.
Mine's going very well.
Yeah, mine too.
And are you guys tethered? You're tethered, right?
Yep.
Oh yeah. We always
do tethered, but even tethered sometimes it bugs. But you know what's cool is I think looking at the hardware diversity as well in the room. We have people on Quest 2, people on Quest Pro, people on 3. And everybody is still connected together. That's actually pretty nice to have this multi-platform going.
That is amazing that we can have cross, different devices, and everybody's in the same space. Obviously.
Also, I think.
Go ahead.
I think
Nick,
it should be mentioned also that not after NVIDIA did the 3070 or the 30 series, not all graphics cards are created equal. So not all 3070s are the same. Back when you had like the GTX 10 series, a GTX 1070 was a GTX 1070 in a laptop. So 1070 mobile or 1070 desktop. That was it. There was one chip. And now like the 3070s, because they're like created a little bit differently. So depending on if it's in a laptop, you can have a 3070 with a total graphics power of 85 watts or 150 watts. And depending on what form factor the laptop is. So if you have a 17-inch laptop with a 3070, you can have a more powerful 3070 than like a 14-inch laptop with a 3070. And the performance you'll get out of those will be different. And so just something to keep in mind for anyone out there looking at laptops, make sure you try and dig into the details for what's called TGP, or total graphics power, because just a 3070 is not necessarily like the same between different laptops. And your performance will vary. An 85 watt will be okay, but 150 watt will be like really good.
That's a great tip. I didn't know.
So
I'm glad you said that, but I hate that that's something new that I need to pay attention to.
Yeah, and it's really, I was helping Tammy look at laptops a couple weeks ago, and like I spent hours trying to like dig into trying to figure out where the TGP was on one of these like what was it, an Asus model. And it was, it's like really hidden. You have to really go find the data sheets on some of these computers. It's not so bad for towers, for like actual graphics cards that go in towers, but for laptops, it's a sneaky little thing. And your performance. And then also one other last thing is the difference between like DDR5 RAM and DDR4 RAM plays a part as well, because DDR5 is just way more efficient. And so it's not like 32 gigs of DDR5 will perform very differently than 32 gigs of DDR4. And if DDR5 is paired with like a 13th gen Intel, then it like your performance is really good. So all things. Wow. And lastly, sorry, AMD. If you have an AMD processor with an NVIDIA graphics card, you're almost always going to have little glitches. It's just not going to be a great experience. So if you're out there looking for a setup to really optimize Gravity Sketch workflow, definitely make sure to look at like Intel plus NVIDIA, because you'll have a better performance. If you're going to go the AMD route, then make sure you go AMD with ATI, so that they're kind of in the same family. But Intel plus NVIDIA, that's 90% of the time you're always going to have guaranteed like good performance that way. Intel plus AMD plus NVIDIA, you're always going to have little glitches. It's just a thing. So
yeah, I actually had that experience. I had a laptop and it kept trying to use the wrong graphics card whenever I was trying to run Gravity Sketch, so it went back.
Yeah, I'm hoping that one day we don't have to worry about all this stuff. It just works.
AI will destroy us.
Well, hopefully not that, but
these questions are actually things that people ask me about, because everyone's kind of new to it, and so they're kind of not, they're not necessarily really tech savvy. And once it starts going down to these nuances of wattage per, and having to have specialist knowledge, it's kind of intimidating, and it's kind of another barrier to entry. I mean, I'd say that from being on the other side of it. Like, it's worth struggling past the barriers, but for someone who's could go either way, it can be a bit of a problem.
Yeah, and I think the step in the right direction is definitely these, the standalone. And if we're just talking about VR here, right? The standalone headsets. You just pop the headset on, and the program's running. Now, obviously, you are at a limit still of the hardware of the headset, and there's limitations there that you run into. still have latency, possibly, with more stuff, more objects added into the scene. And that's really at the mercy of the hardware manufacturers and the performance that they add into the headset. But at least you don't have to have all this knowledge in your head, I think, of, upgrading your headset to some, some spec that makes things better, but maybe understanding more so the limitations that you have by using that device.
And there are two kind of ways I use my headset. So untethered, if I really want to work on something and really feel the presence of the model, so I do a lot of motorcycle work, which makes it important. But then if I want to do a lot of engineering data, then I kind of have this complete other mode that I have to use it in, where I can't use it on the pass-through, but I need all the reference data and stuff. So I kind of have to have this super lightweight version and a more technical version to run. And I understand that the inability to run a pass-through when it's tethered is nothing to do with Gravity Sketch, but it's to do with Meta. But is that a restriction that like Vario and such like have on their headsets as well, or is it possible with that?
With Vario, I'm not certain. I actually haven't used one of those devices, but that's a good question. I actually can. I actually would be curious to know that. So I can ask the team for you on that one, Nick, because
I mean that's a huge one.
Especially
if Varian were able to do both, we're able to do path through and tethered. I mean that would be a massive bump in performance.
Oh yeah.
For me, and hopefully someone from Vario would like to send me a demo unit for some months.
especially someone like yourself, Nick. And by the way, anybody watching, please go check out what Nick's doing, Clay Moto. I think it's Clay Moto, right? On Instagram.
It's right. But watch out for a rebrand, because I am literally working on a complete new rebrand.
Okay.
And to bring everything that I'm doing under one umbrella, but TBD, I'll announce it. It'll probably be in the new year, and I'll hopefully get it out over Christmas.
Okay, so that will be changing soon, but yeah, please go check out what Nick's doing.
We'll be there with it. There'll be a redirect to
okay. That'll be good.
The new website.
Yeah, I mean the stuff that you're doing with bringing in engineering data and we actually did a live with Nick maybe it's a year or two ago, diving your process. We've done actually several things with Nick, but yeah, it's especially in your case, I think you bring up a valuable point there though, because you're definitely not alone in the need of having to not only be creative, because it sounded like it was like a split of needing to be creative, right? But then also really getting practical with like scan data, machine and CAD data. And that's just very intense stuff, in terms of processing power. And so, there'll need to be some innovations to allow, I would say, more enterprise level, more kind of like, enterprise level, design teams, design individuals working on bigger projects that'll need this functionality. And so, that is like a delicate balance.
I mean, are you guys working on anything like importing step files for the future?
Yeah, in terms of import, there's always work being done. I don't know exactly what file types the team is looking at. But there's definitely always discussion for sure around these things. If there's a specific thing that you want, Nick, definitely share. That'd be huge.
I've got you in a public forum, and I'm just going to ask you awkward questions.
Yeah. No, this is great. Well, this is, I mean, just to remind everybody, this is, this is what Live Sketch is for, is to just be super raw and transparent about, what we're working on and also what all of you desire and want and would like to have in your workflow. So, yeah.
Sorry, I don't want to dominate the conversation. I'll let you get back to the guys. And it just sucks that I can't be a part of it, because, finding these guys and being able to work on some collab stuff with them, it's like I think Ben was saying at the beginning, finding your people. is exactly what it's
Yeah,
about.
I wish you could hop in there too, Nick. I'm sorry this is happening for you.
Well, I don't blame you personally, Jared. Don't worry.
Well, does anybody else want to talk about what they're working on? Do they feel like they're in a place where they are okay showing it and talking about it?
I can go.
Okay.
I'm over here.
All right. Let me get your feed going. Okay, here we go. Okay, go ahead.
So basically this area is the agricultural greenhouse area. And I was like, okay, well, there's plants inside of a greenhouse, but I wanted the plants, the trees and everything to be the actual structure and then have like greenhouses for people inside of the building itself. So I'm making like little like chill pods with like couches and stuff that would normally be where the, plants would be, but instead, this is where the people are going to be, and the plants could flourish all around the area. So yeah, that's what I'm working on.
That's super cool. I love
Thank
that.
you. Thank you.
So the plants they grow on the outside, and everybody's on these these cavities, these cavity pods.
Yeah, like little rooms where they could I'm also going to be adding like plants within it, but I had to get like the main structure first and then putting, details as I go, which is usually how I just do my process. I start and then I'm like, okay, you know what, this is a good idea. Let's go for it. And yeah.
I love it. It's awesome. Yeah, really nice work.
Thank you. I like zooming in all the way and actually like putting myself in the room.
Oh, that's a really cool view. We're like seeing, it's really putting you in like a 1-to-1 scale, looking at the rest of the city in front of you.
This is like the most digital fun that you could have.
Guaranteed. Yes. I definitely run on the whole 1-to-1. The beauty of Gravelly Sketch is being able to go into like mini model mode and actually just start doing whatever you want to do, and then you can at any point zoom in and just be human size and get that first person perspective. And being in VR, you can just look around from that perspective. It's amazing.
Christian, the balcony, I'm sitting on the balcony right now.
Oh, hey, I'll come join you.
It's awesome.
It's amazing seeing what everyone does. You turn your back, you've been going away for an hour, half an hour, whatever, you turn around and just see, wow, it's all just growing around you.
Oh, I like the sign. It's really cute.
Yeah, I definitely want to leave some time at the end for maybe like 10 minutes before or more, maybe 15, to give a chance for everyone to talk about what they've created, and we just have a little bit of a survey of the city. I think that'd be nice.
Like a tour of Mars.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm loving this, guys. Really, really awesome work.
Who's your favorite? No, I'm kidding.
Oh man, don't put me on the spot.
Yeah.
Oh no, it's all my favorite. No, I'm just
yeah.
It's truly. I'm not even kidding. I mean, it's all really amazing. Like there's completely different styles, completely different ideas going here, and it's just really cool to see it all coming together. Like it's now kind of I'm trying to like fly around here so I can get a good angle. But it's truly amazing to see just like all of the different spaces and structures that are just like growing, like one of you said earlier. I think it was Ben maybe that said that, or it's like all just kind of like, yeah, literally growing. I didn't check in the beginning when we first started, but if we do have it going, I can't wait to see that like third-person view time lapse. That would be amazing.
Yeah, I got that going.
That's gonna be cool.
Yeah, me too.
Nice.
How's the Korea coming?
Creo's great. I've been just switching through feeds every so often with Creo showing everybody. There's actually a question we have here. Why does Creo page look like it's morphing every few seconds? Well, that's a good question. I'll show the feed again actually really quickly so you can see. But we've got a live feed of Gravity Sketch being fed into Creo, and it basically auto updates the AI generated image as
It's a
you
refresh, right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It's a refresh, and so so I just have a live feed on the left, and then on the right side is Creo generating based off of that image on the left, and so and you can change the slider. So if I go down here, move the slider up just a bit, it starts to interpret a little bit more on its own, and it gets further and further away. But if I bring it further down, it really starts to adhere more to the space that we've got going here. And then I have this little prompt at the bottom that's helping direct the AI. So hopefully that answers your question.
I mean, that Creo thing is amazing. Like I didn't know anything about it until I saw Gregg posted something onto our Discord channel, and I was just blew my mind, you know, to see this. Like I was like, and I just started showing people I was with. I was like, oh my god, check this out! This is real time. It's just unbelievable.
Something that I love about the output here is that no matter how cool we can put, you know, the prompt description or how much Jaren is trying to play with the slider, nothing beats what's on Gravity Sketch direct output. The AI is struggling to be as creative as us, and that's cool to see.
That is hilarious.
Yeah, but I think it's so nice how it amplifies your own creativity. You start to build a gesture, and it starts to give you an idea, and then you then start to build what's in that image. It's, I mean, I find that's how I'm using VisCom at the moment, is just to feed me more ideas back that I can steal and make my own.
Yeah. There was something interesting with the early days of LCM before Creo came out, and I was playing with drawings, and I fed it with paintings that already exist, and then took screenshots of the output in real time and saved every frame, which gave me like hundreds of different variations of the paintings that I fed it. And then I used those variations to recreate new paintings. So I think it's going to be interesting to see the loops that people go through as well. Imagine if Gravity Sketch had this live feed integrated within the Gravity Sketch interface. You could get sometime inspired by one of the Creo outputs, which might prompt you to add something more to your current sculpture or to diverge into completely different ideas. And that loop of instant feedback, real-time feedback back to imagination and back to the drawing board is really interesting as an artist, I think.
Yeah.
Well, Nyko, you've done similar stuff directly with VisCom, right? Like in Gravity Sketch, bringing in your like feed. I mean, you have to say more. I think you mentioned it recently.
Yeah, so like you can open like with the web browser in Gravity Sketch, you can open up VisCom, and then you can ultimately basically like do some generation. If you already have to have the sketch uploaded in VisCom, which you can't do right from within the browser. But if you have a sketch already uploaded, you can use the screenshot tool and take some. You can generate in VisCom on the browser, and then you can take some screenshots with the screenshot tool in Gravity Sketch and bring those into the scene. So that's a pretty cool kind of workflow that you can do. But it's I can do it here in a second. I'll pull it up. I don't know if Jaren's will be able to capture it, but you can always see, hopefully. So let me just finish this, and then I'll go and pull up the browser. So.
Yeah,
right.
we'll see if I can get in your view. I don't know if actually you can see the browser.
Well, let's just do a fast test with the browser.
Yeah.
So, because I don't know if that's something I don't think that's something you can see that I have pulled up.
No, yeah, it's just
So-
empty for us because we're looking at
Yeah.
your view right now, but it's okay.
Okay. Well, we tried.
Yep. But if you wanted to pull something out of it, because I've been using that, so actually I was able to get Discord going inside Gravity Sketch, where I was able to go on the web and access Discord on the web, and then use Midjourney and get Midjourney prompts straight out of Discord and just grab them and pull them straight into Gravity Sketch. That was really useful.
Yeah, I think it'd be cool if the browser could be shared. That'd be like super powerful for collab on like a lot of different ends. Because you could share like when you're collabing, you could share like inspiration with people. And I think the browser function in Gravity Sketch is one of like something that, if there was more, if it could be developed even more, would be like a crazy value add to the app.
But you can also grab this stuff direct. So you have your browser open, you're talking about an image, Nyko, right? And then you can actually just grab that and then pull it into Gravity Sketch. And when it's in Gravity Sketch, and everyone can see it. So I agree with you, but I feel like the workaround for that one at least is not bad.
Yeah, it's I think I haven't actually talked with the team on that. I don't know if it's like there's a technical limitation there, or if it was a decision to not be able to see. So I'm not sure what the reasoning is behind not being able to see it, but yeah, I think that's something, some feedback we can have sent over and see what the team thinks about it. Let's get another view going here.
Isabel, I know we're neighbors. I think we should collaborate on and merge.
Yes, let's do it.
Guys, there's no collaboration, all right? That's not what we do here.
Yeah, keep it clean. Keep it clean.
There's a vine
collaboration.
wall. I feel your vine should come over onto my.
Hey, it's getting
Okay.
nasty.
Let's do it. And whatever you want to add to mine, please do.
Okay. Nice.
You're now experiencing the best part of these collabs when the things start touching each other.
Yeah.
That came out.
It truly starts to become like one creation. Like it's when things sort of mold and meld into each other. It truly starts to become one thing, and that's definitely starting to happen here. It's like this room is definitely starting to get filled up. Let me see if I can go over. Switch through some different views here. Nice, guys. And just a reminder, I know people are watching. Maybe you're just mesmerized, but if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. You have your opportunity to ask anything you like about the tool or the Metaverse Artisans themselves.
I have a question.
Yeah.
What's the latest on that cloth thing we were talking about?
Oh Lord.
Oh man, this one will never cease. So
Don't get our started.
I would like to personally apologize to this group and to everyone out there in the world for ever sharing that on our social media a couple of years ago. But yeah, for some context.
Don't apologize for sharing it.
No, it was amazing.
Well, ever
Just-
since then, it's been
build
been
it.
requested. Well, I have something interesting to say about that. So, for context, basically, our team would do these innovation days, and every Friday they would show experiments they've been doing in the tool, where they built some feature or something just to play around with what's possible with Gravity Sketch. It was definitely not something that was going to be released. It was just playing around. and someone presented a cloth simulation feature in Gravity Sketch, where you create a surface and then you would just click a button and then it would just fall to the ground. And if there's an object underneath it, it would basically, like a cloth simulator, it would just basically fold over that object, and so you'd have a piece of accurate looking cloth. So I was like, this is cool. Let's put this out in the community and see what people think of it. And we'll be super clear. This is not something we're building. We're probably not going to build it. And that was something that the team was very clear with me about. Make sure we're super, very, very clear about that. And so I put it out there, and people loved it. And then ever since then, people have been asking about when's the cloth simulation coming out. And it feels like it should be built at this point, just because of the fact that so many people have asked for it. And something I want to say is we do have our own soft goods and apparel consultant specialist on our team at Gravity Sketch, working with customers specifically who are doing projects with soft goods and apparel. And he's done some incredible work. Jeff Thrasher is his name, if you want to check him out on Instagram. And I think there could be a case in the future to be made about having cloth simulation, maybe in Gravity Sketch. That's just my personal opinion. It's definitely not coming from the team at all. No one said that they're doing it, but I could forecast something like that happening. So that's what I'll say about it.
All right, but it would be cool, and I definitely think, because you've shown it and you've gotten a good response, it would be worthwhile you guys seriously thinking about putting it in.
Yeah.
But there are things that I would sooner see, like layer grouping and such, like as a priority over something that's probably quite big.
That was the reason.
Your caveats and stuff. It's obviously a massive ask. So yeah.
And it is the reason why I thought it would be cool to do these, share some of these Innovation Day experiments, because even though they're just experiments, it was curious for me to find out, what would the community's response to be to some of these. My thought is that everybody will say, so there's always going to be someone that says yes, like, build it, do it. But I think it was kind of hard on the internal team, because it was, I think everything is awesome to the community, but for us, we're really trying to build something that's super useful, not just doesn't have every single feature available to you. And so I think threading that line is always a really tricky thing, which I definitely understand. In this particular case with cloth simulation, I could personally see a very useful application for that. And so I think that's a unique one. But yeah.
So you want to, I understand you want to make a feature set which is kind of applicable to the most number of people, and of course there you want to put your resources into developing those things. But what about like making it open up to people to develop plugins, for example, that would serve specific needs? I can think of several things that I would love to see developed for my own use case. But probably you guys wouldn't see a use case of it for a lot of people. And what do you guys at Gravity Sketch feel about that kind of community building?
Yeah, the topic of plugins has been discussed in casual conversation. I don't know if I can speak on it of truly what the opinion is of the leadership and of the product team, but I guess what I could gather personally from these conversations is that it presents some complications with I think technically, but also possibly business wise. Again, I don't know the nuances of that, so that's what I kind of gathered from it. But I don't think it's completely off the table. That's not the sense that I got. But yeah, I just honestly really can't speak on it, because I don't think I know enough. I think it'd be great, just as an idea. I think it's awesome. I mean, Blender has gotten to where it's at because of because of that fact. It's obviously a super dedicated community, but it's open source. I mean, the plugins is really what makes that program like a powerhouse.
Yeah, I mean, you must be cognizant of the fact that at some point, Blender is going to be made into a VR program.
I mean,
surely.
there's already kind of like some VR functionality with Blender, yeah.
Yeah. But what does that mean for you guys? What are you guys going to do to challenge that?
That's a big question for me, Nick. I gotta say, that's
I mean, I love Gravity Sketch. I think we all do, and we want to see the success of the company and have it going and be the company that then goes and buys the blenders. It's just.
I almost want Shay to hop on here. I would love Shay to hop on and give his thoughts.
I can say one thing though, as an external viewer of the growth of Gravity Sketch. I now work at Unity, but back then I was working at IBM and visiting the Unite conference back in LA in 2018. And I think the Quest was not out yet. Facebook, now Meta, didn't acquire Reality Labs yet neither. So it was still the Oculus Quest on the verge of becoming the headset that everybody would get. And I was a teeny just visitor in the conference, and there was this group of 3 people presenting their 3D modeling tool in one corner of the conference on this new device. And I was like, first of all, that's amazing that I can try the Quest in a conference. But second of all, what? 3D sculpting with my hands? And at the time, I think it was October, and the tool was coming out, I think, in March the year after, with the release of the Quest. And literally single-handedly, Gravity Sketch, the team was so nice, so approachable, answered every single question. And I think that interaction solely made me want to, one, buy a Quest. So like literally the app made me want to buy the hardware. But on top of that, made me want to pursue my work in XR and feel like there is an actual industry to pursue, and that it's not just gaming, it's not just art, it's also automotive, fashion, architecture. And it was really inspiring to see. And now we're like 5 to 6 years later, and I think a lot of us have backgrounds in this industry, and seeing we actually can have a living working in this field but also pushing the boundary is really inspiring. So I don't know what magic the team is doing at Gravity Sketch, but it's beautiful to see that it's only just the beginning still, even 6 years later. And I think the interface has evolved a lot also, many times. And seeing that they try to always keep it minimalistic and approachable for new user as much as useful for professional, that's a very fine and hard balance to maintain. So I agree with Nick. I think in the future, we might see opportunities for people to potentially have like plugins or ways to have like focus on specific workflows, while maintaining the main Gravity Sketch as pure as possible in a sense, because that's really what draws people in. And nowadays, especially with the latest release, if you're following right now, you never tried it, well, get that Gravity Sketch and update and try it again, because it's a new experience, and I really fell back in love with it once again.
Also,
okay,
I was just gonna jump on onto that really quick. Right now, the Quest 2, which is still a very good bulletproof headset, is only $250. So it's like in the US at least, it's only $250. So
you know, make like someone happy for Christmas.
Yeah, it's a really good time to get in if you're looking to get in, because you don't have to go and spend $1,000 on, or in my case, like when I've been following Gravity Sketch, I can beat you, Manu. I've been following Gravity Sketch in 2015.
Wow.
I was working at a company called UMake, and UMake was making a 3D sketching app on the iPad. And Gravity Sketch
I actually have a UMake demo from that time. That's
yeah. So UMake basically, Gravity Sketch launched just after UMake launched, and on the iPad, and I was looking at it and following them. And then in 2017, Mike Jelinek, who is an amazing Gravity Sketch artist, he and concept artist, just incredible designer overall. He came in to a conference in San Francisco, and I met up with him. He wanted to talk to the UMake team, and I went to this conference, and he showed me Gravity Sketch, and I actually went and borrowed $3,500 from my mom, so that I could buy a laptop and a Vive, because at the time the Vive was the one that Mike told me was better. And so I bought a Vive and a laptop, and took a loan out to buy them, so solely for Gravity Sketch. And I started paying for the subscription back when they had a subscription, the $30 a month.
It's a native texture in Gravity Sketch.
Wait,
Wow.
what?
It's under effects, in the effects folder. Yeah.
The guitar strings, the strings.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just
No
a
way.
native texture in Gravity
That's
Sketch.
so
Yeah.
cool.
Okay, can you guys who are just watching, can you refresh and let me know if it's coming through? I think it's coming through.
And it's back, yes.
Yeah.
So it looks like my OBS crashed.
Oh no!
But we're still on the stream. It's still going live. It just there's just gonna be a blank spot, unfortunately.
That's okay.
No worries.
Tech
It's the
problems
only
happen.
moment where you promised a lot of new stuff at Gravity Sketch, so it's fine.
Yeah. Sorry, y'all missed. Sorry, y'all missed it.
Is the
And the part that
the
where
Illuminati
everybody's
stuff
praising my work, that too.
yeah, true. Bro, I'm like,
Yeah, sure.
Oh, well.
OBS bug.
okay.
How convenient.
Yeah, I'm not sure when it cut out, but
we should go look at Gregg's stuff anyway because it's awesome.
Okay.
Well-
After all the praising Gravity Sketch, it's time for some serious complaining.
Let's do it.
Jaren,
Let's do it.
the two buttons that we have now, the pencil and a brush versus pencil and a hammer, very difficult to not confuse them while explaining to the students. Click the brush and pencil button, that is the toolbox, but also there is the other toolbox that is under the other button. Can you guys please make them more different? They should be...
Is this the quick access menu you're referring to, Kuba?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's the terminology, I guess. I just see them as toolbox 1, toolbox 2. But yeah, that's it.
Okay, yeah, duly noted. Thank you for the feedback.
They are even a bit different styles, so I feel they are ready to be a bit tweaked. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank
Sorry.
you.
No, yeah. Thank you very much. I was just looking at the chat, making sure we were all good on the stream side. But no, thank you for that feedback. Yeah, our team's always like wanting feedback on especially that type of stuff. Like if there's something confusing, with menus or with tools, it's very, very useful information for us. So yeah, thank you.
No, I'm completely used to it by now, but when I work with students, I notice that this is usually the biggest challenge for them to basically not click it, because when they are beginners, I try not to get them into the quick options or the quick settings toolbox, because it's just too confusing at the beginning.
Sure. Oh, I got a tough one for beginners from every time I've taught somebody. I have, it seems to be a difficult thing. Like one of the coolest things you can do, of course, is to, now I need to shape. When you have a cube or something and you want to move the cube and you're aligning your controllers to move it like directly up or to the side, it seems like not everyone can do that. If you know what I mean. I mean, Kuba, you've taught people that. I don't know if you've had that experience when you're teaching multiple people where it's just like half of them aren't able to do that.
Smart Move is one of the most. Smart Move is literally probably the hardest thing.
Yes.
In teaching over 300 people.
Yeah.
Like Smart Move is definitely the number one thing that is. But if you want a pro tip on how to teach it, it's always the upper hand. Everyone. So I don't know if you can see my controllers.
Is that what they're doing?
So if the pro tip is the circle of the controller needs to be a circle. Like when they're looking straight at it, if the circle of the controller is a pure circle and not an ellipse, then it'll work. Because most people, they tilt the upper controller forward too much. But when you have when you bring the circle back, then you'll get the axis. So it's always a question of the tilt of the upper controller will make the difference. Like,
the top tip, because I always, like you guys, when I'm trying to teach people, and they're like, and I'm like, yeah, kind of like, it looks like your controls are stacked, but you're just not quite getting it.
Yeah.
Tell them it's like if they're holding a golf club and they want to like, or an umbrella and they're holding it with two hands. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm always telling them, like, imagine you're holding a broom handle, and like, but somehow it's just, I think Move has gone through phases. I remember when I first started to get the Smart Move to instigate was really hard. And then I don't know if it was an Oculus update or a Gravity Sketch update or whatever, but then at some point it just snapped to being much easier. And I don't think it was because I finally got it. I think the way that it works right now is really, really good. It's just a thing that it takes a while to get to. And like you say, Nyko, it's probably the hardest thing in Gravity Sketch, which actually is quite easy once you get it. It's like a
That's the thing. Once you have it once, it's like muscle memory will take care of you forever at that point. But it's like getting them to get it that first time.
Yeah.
Is that trick? But yeah, that makes sense.
That's definitely one that there's been lots of feedback on, that it's kind of tricky with lining up the controllers, and we've gotten that feedback many places. I don't know if that is planned to eventually change or not. But it's definitely one that the team's very aware of, and they might be thinking of ways to evolve that tool.
Yeah. I wouldn't even know how to approach that.
Well, I've got an idea for how to make it more complicated. What I've always wanted to do is not only just hold your hands one above the other, but be able to hold your hands in kind of an L shape, so that when you grab something, you're only moving it on that XY plane, as opposed to using the, like the controller, the widget thing. But because it would be so fast, because you're right there,
Yeah, and that was the original design behind the Smart Move, which was, how can we turn this into a gestural experience rather than just a widget, as you said, or a tool that you open, but like, how can this be more gestural and connected to your body? But there's from feedback, that's tricky for some people, especially learning for the first time. So these are all learnings that are very valuable, I think, and just come through experimentation. So, and that one's been pretty long standing. Obviously there's the widget, which is a few more steps to access now, I think. But yeah, these things are always evolving, of course. I want to say we are a few minutes till time. I'm okay to go over if everybody else is okay. If we just want to have a quick, walk around of what everybody's made, or maybe just whoever wants to talk.
I have to jump out in 2 minutes.
Okay.
So
do you want to go first, Nyko, or?
I can just quickly do a thing. What I basically was working on is, over here was a transportation hub. So this is essentially where my idea was that, like, things coming from Earth would land outside, and then this was basically the hatch or the dock where everything would be brought in, processed, and then put on these massive roadways that would these could be used for storage of things. That's why they're so wide. So cargo could be left here, but then also taken into the center, and then also brought up to these other peripheral roadways as well, or transportation ways. And so I basically focused on doing this kind of transportation hub over here, water processing area down here with some walking paths, and then somewhat of a kind of a processing / incineration / recycling area infrastructure over here. So that was kind of the whole idea of, if you have transportation and the other stuff, then you can transport water and trash and all that pretty easily. So
wow. I love that.
Amazing. That's incredible. Really nice work, Nyko.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Took inspiration from one of Christian's images over here, this one, to try and make the like supports and everything organic. I was initially adding a little bit more detail, but Kuba was like, hey. So I
check the polygons, man.
I decided,
Polygon police.
Yeah, so I decided to tone it down, but it's still organic and fun. So
the poll is gone.
That's hilarious.
I think we need to make T-shirts for the Metaverse Artisans, the Polygon Police.
Polygon
I like
Police.
that.
I freaking love that. I actually want that on a shirt.
Yeah. So
awesome. Who's next? Who wants to go
All
next? Thank you, Nyko. Thank you very much.
See you, everyone. This was awesome.
Thank you.
See ya.
All
Take
right.
care.
See you later.
Take care,
Thank
Nyko.
you.
Does anyone want to go next? Does anyone feel like
Well,
they're
I
itching?
can.
Yeah, I want to
How
talk
about
about Greg.
Okay, I haven't
Go to
said
Greg.
anything, so okay. All right, so what I was trying to do here is just, first of all, work from large to small, obviously, and just do kind of big graphics and big forms, and then, because it's way too easy to get bogged down in details, we all know that. So started there and used Snap to just snap planes and then thicken them. And I stuck those on their own layer so that I could lock that layer. And then I could snap other things to it, like these circles, for example, are snapped. So like if I grab a circle here, I shouldn't edit. I'll grab it with, actually, I'm gonna grab it like this. So if I just click and click, like that, and then I use the selection tool and click it. So now it can just be dragged anywhere and it can be scaled. And you can just play with graphics on the surface, basically.
Yeah, I love that.
So
very
that's
nice.
kind of like a non-destructive, quick way to, move stuff. So that was one technique that I was enjoying that Gravity Sketch does very well. And let's see. Well, okay. So like I think I mentioned this was just a font, and it's just colon space colon space pipe space L capital H, and then it's copied, and it looks like complicated graphics, and all I did was type something. So that was quick and easy. I like the sphere here, so of course I just used the revolve tool and just made the sphere first, and then I went back with the same revolve tool and just, click drag with. So I just have like 2 points that I'm clicking for each one of these just to make these segments, and thicken those, and then I turn them into sub D, and what else? That kind of stuff. But
That's really
basically
cool.
working big to small.
It's just come up on the live feed, so I'm a bit delayed, but that's super cool. That blue thing, I'm definitely gonna steal that for an undersea exhaust pipe.
Okay, great. Feel free.
Everything I'm watching is slightly delayed from the conversation we're in. So carry on.
That's about it, really. That's the gist. Oh, and this little thing here is a texture native to Gravity Sketch. It's in the It's in the what's the folder? It's the effects folder, and it looks like guitar strings or something. But so that was handy. So like here, I'll just copy it out. So click. I don't know if you can see, but it's just these white lines. And if I edit, we can stretch it around like that. So that's fun stuff.
That's brilliant.
That's the gist.
Thank you, Greg. That's excellent work. Really, really love
Thanks.
it. Yeah, I love all the thought put into it, and especially with the graphics. That's a nice workflow there, and awesome work.
Thanks.
Who wants to go next? I might start calling names.
Who has them? Christian, show off.
Cool. I'll go. I was supposed to do. Let's have a look at it again. Energy generation plant. But because we're in a contained thing, we couldn't do wind turbines, and solar panels probably wouldn't work. So I just went crazy and did all sorts of crazy forms, nice big skyscrapers, starting with just like a profile first, and then extrude it along different routes. So there's a nice sort of big long walkway. I wanted to do multi-platforms so that you've got different levels to come into different buildings at, and just some sculptures, play around with some forms, and yeah, have a bit of fun, which I had tons of fun.
Yeah, I love the organic style. I love like the kind of things kind of weave around each other. I always wonder about like, you know, what's the aesthetic of the future, you know? Is it organic? Is it going to be super utilitarian? I mean, it's I feel like there's only a number of directions it can go.
Yeah, 100%. And it's nice to try and do something forward thinking, like on Mars, when you do have that gravity, you know, you can cantilever a lot further.
Yeah.
Things you don't need so many supports because of the lack of gravity, like in Nyko's stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, this is
when you
work.
said that, I thought of Frank Lloyd Wright's Falling Water. You know, like he drove the contractors crazy with his cantilevers. Imagine what he could do on Mars.
Exactly. Maybe they'll bring his personality as an AI to advise on that.
Perfect.
Yeah, we're gonna have conversations with Frank. That's excellent work. Really nice work, Christian.
Thank you.
Tammy, would you like to go next?
I would like to go at some point, but maybe not next because
Okay.
I'm adding textures to
Fair
things,
enough.
and I really want to present you with that.
JJ, how do you feel?
Pardon?
Would you like to present what you've been creating?
Okay.
Yeah.
Here's it is my human living building inspired by giant baobab tree, and this is also motivated from large coral reef, but it looks like coral. I thought people might miss when they were in Earth, so I make like this. If they miss the ocean, then into it, and there's an aquarium in the middle of the building.
Oh, cool.
That's cool.
That's very cool.
Yeah, and actually, I wanted to hear is a sharing place, like cooking and eating and meditation together, but there's lack of time. I couldn't make it, and here is a living place who can protect the privacy, which is yeah, it's done. Over.
I love these. This is so cool.
Yeah,
Really nice
beautiful.
work, JJ.
Thank you.
Yeah, I love I actually think it'd be so fun to live in one of those. Like I'm imagining just living in this little like pod in this tree. That's
definitely.
super fun. That's awesome. Really, really nice work.
Thank you.
Great. Let's see. Who can we go to next? Ben, would you like to go?
Sure. As you know, we checked in with me earlier with my buildings with legs, and that's gotten out of hand now because I absolutely love, you know, the stroke, the custom stroke tool with polar symmetry, and that allowed me to make. I just basically like this building here. You can see this one here. I just made I started with legs, and the legs became the entire building. Like I just built from that and then popped the dome on it. And then
That's such a
was
Ben
so
thing.
fun. And that was so
I was
fun.
just gonna
I just
say that.
kept doing it over and over again. And they have this kind of, I don't mean them to be so dark, but they got kind of like a really intense vibe to them. But I love them, and they're all my building babies. And yeah.
That's awesome. Wow. Did you say that they walk or no? They just
Yeah,
kind of...
they definitely walk.
Okay.
So they'll just go where they want. So next time anyone sees this room, they might just be wherever. It's just gonna knock over Tammy's stuff and then just be there.
Those are super
Well,
cool.
I made an offer of peace with this pathway here. I don't know if you noticed.
Oh, you did?
I did. I was like, I was gonna
Yeah.
walk over to you.
Don't worry, we'll do the walking over here. Don't you worry about that. Yeah.
Oh man, that's awesome. Really nice work, man. That's super interesting. Thanks. And I love the mobile nature of it. Although maybe Tammy might have locked down though with her bridge.
Well, I did try. It's just a docking station for when he comes back into its place. But he
Isabel,
kept moving it, you know.
Oh
So
yeah.
I couldn't really pinpoint the pathway, which is hilarious. I kept like, oh no.
That's true. I thought I was in your way or something. I moved at one point. I was like, it's not something. I was
Oh
like,
Lord,
okay.
no! I was trying
But
to
then-
come
yeah.
to deal with that.
I was
just
accidentally
finish
avoiding
that.
friendship.
Interconnectedness happening.
Goodness.
Isabel, would you like to go next?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Get the feed going here. All right, go ahead.
So I don't know if you can see this properly. Well, I'm trying to get like a good bird's eye view. Christian and I combined our spaces with these vines and stuff, kind of overgrown vines. I finished adding some of the pods with couches. I added like different couches in there. And yeah, I just kept on making vines and building up on top of each one, kind of making like different spaces that you can go into. And if you can see, I love doing this. I'm going to the top one and you can kind of just sit down in the chair and see everybody else's work. So I kind of wanted like a natural spot, kind of like a forest kind of thing, to contrast everybody else's really, really, really awesome, like crazy geometric cyberpunk work. So yeah, I mean, work is never done. I could always continue to add and work on this for hours, but I definitely think the polygon count would cry. So yeah, this is how it's looking.
It's looking awesome. Really nice work, Isabel. Yeah, this is
Thank
great.
you.
Yeah, cool.
Uh-oh.
I love that perspective
Okay, there we go.
from up there.
Yeah.
I like going on your balcony, Christian. It's really good.
Or come anytime, anyone. Yeah.
It's really cool when you guys put it in that first person or that first person view. You can really get a sense. Uh-oh, I disconnected from Colab. I might need to reconnect here.
It does give a sense of scale. I love the details inside the pods and not just the outside. It gives a sense that there is people living there and there is actually activity.
Thank you.
All right.
Everybody did such an incredible job. Like seriously, every time we do this, it's something like otherworldly, literally. So it's really awesome.
I want to thank Christian for continuing my work after I crashed. He made an amazing tower that looks like exactly what I had in mind. So thank you, Christian.
Oh, well, there we go. Just vibing on the right level.
Yeah, I'm so sorry that you guys couldn't continue creating with the rest of the group.
Hey, that's just an excuse to do it again.
That's right.
Exactly.
I'm down for another one. Let's see
Yeah, it sucks
here.
to not be able to do it, because actually to work, it's really nice to be able to work with people that are like true artists who work in diversity of media and industries. Like, you know, I work in a very small niche, and so kind of, you know, I know what most people in my kind of area do, and actually to then kind of on the weekends go and meet people that are certifiably creative, it's really, really interesting, and it's kind of something out of the ordinary. And it's, I don't know if it would happen if it wasn't for VR and Gravity Sketch and stuff. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
Well, I'm just really thankful that we can highlight you guys' work, and I think really what we're showing off here is obviously everyone's skill and ability to create, but also each of your desires to want to create together. I think it's a reflection of maybe what many more out there feel like they want to do is to create with others and collaborate more with others. And so I think just commend all of you for creating this little group. I think to inspire others out there to really get out there and connect with each other, not be in a silo in and of themselves, in creativity. So yeah, thank you guys for making this group. Honestly, let me go to someone else here. Think we have Kuba left and Tammy. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tammy, go on. Tell us about your whole city you made there.
Oh, you're putting me on the spot like that?
Yeah.
You're not done, huh? Okay, fine. I'll take one for you, but I'll keep it in my notebook. All right, I'm over here to one of the paint sides of this amazing city that we've been doing. Jaren, where are you at?
I'm attached to your view, so we're seeing everything.
Oh, you're attached to my view. Oh, that's fabulous. Okay, so like the way you're supposed to go around this whole thing is that you would climb from the bottom here. You would take either one of this kind of like electrical staircases, or you would go by the elevator, and then you reach here, which is like the entrance of this part. You get a nice view of the whole city behind, and then we're this person here, this tiny guy. And then you can walk towards the main entrance here, as you can see now. We have like this beautiful big entrance here, and this is supposed to be, I did not populate the environment yet, but this is very metaverse-y like. So here would be like the main event room. Oh, by the way, I'm doing the cultural center of our city on Mars. So this is the place where you would learn about history, anything that's related to events, and also a socializing place. That's the way I envision it. So this could be like projection on top of the ceiling, and maybe some holographs stuff. And this would be with a lot of folks in here. So this is kind of like the main event space.
I love how the
like really
characters give a sense of scale.
Yeah, I really like to have this tiny. Let me just grab one with me. Okay, so we're going with this guy here, and then you have like the upper part. And the upper part, it's supposed to be kind of like a dining area for that thing. So this would be like a circular, kind of like this big restaurant area where you could just dive in all sorts of different foods. So you learn about food culture, but like by actually tasting it. Let's grab the tiny guy again and then move out. So then you walk towards one of these paths, and we're gonna choose the left one. Here on my left we have Ben, and the friendship path towards his area. And then if you go straight here, this is the observatory. And then, so this would be kind of like the place for astronomical research and stuff like that. So this is kind of like the sphere, kind of like the sphere in Las Vegas.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so you would see, it would be kind of like the observatory. And then up here, into these two buildings that are connected, you would see kind of like, it's like the museum part where you would get to learn about history. And then inside, it's divided into 3 other zones. So each of these cylinders would have like projections where you would learn about different topics. So you would kind of like walk around and learn about the story of a particular subject. And then at the top part, again, we have an exploratory area where you can also look out to the city here because it's one of the highest points. So as you can see, you could just kind of like take a good look at everything that's built. And the same thing here for this tiny building here, which is like a sister to the bigger one. Again, you would learn about things, history of Mars related. And then this building here was supposed to be about tech things, but I haven't really finished it yet. So it's still under construction. This one, but it has like a fun thing at the bottom here where it's empty. So I want to put some elevators in there. And yeah, this one here, actually, I didn't mention, this was supposed to be lights. So the colorful parts here are lights and they like lit up.
Wow.
So yeah, that's about it.
So impressive. Wow, amazing work. That's awesome, Tammy.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Oh, thanks so much.
I love just all the different moments in different spaces where you that are have such a specific purpose to them, and the thought that you put into each of the spaces. It's really cool. And then obviously like someone else said, the human scale really puts it in perspective for you. Yeah, especially when you go like that.
It does.
You can see the size of the whole city. It's really amazing.
Look at that.
That's super
it's like
cool.
We would actually be even tinier. We would be like this. This is huge.
I love the texture.
I was thinking the cheering sound effect like in those movies, like the crowd cheering.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. That's so.
I really
so
love
awesome.
going really far.
That opening is really cool, actually.
Yeah. Kind of like a slit in the window.
Excellent.
I know
work,
we were
Tammy.
like we're inside the dome, so there was no need to have enclosed spaces. So
Amazing work, Tammy. Amazing work. Kuba, would you like to go?
Yeah, I'll keep it brief since we are already on a 2.5 hours mark, and also my headset is having some real issues, so I have a bit of a slideshow. I don't know if you're attached to my view, but it might be a bit random. Also, my approach was kind of in contrast to Tammy's, who really thought through all of these spaces. I went for nonsense. So yeah, just tried around different techniques, adding. I'm pretty sure I wouldn't be hired as an architect on Mars, since you have to be really careful with resources, and I thought I'll go random as the concept. But yeah, we have some core tower where I was talking before about just trying to make it visually sexy. Some very organic vertical farms in pink, and some monster at the bottom that is just another play with forms, trying to think what this floor plan that we have in our city could mean in 3D, more than what function would it serve. So I'm sorry, citizens, but the storage and supplies department might be not the most efficient. You should have brought your own lunch to this mission. So yeah, I'm sorry. It's been fun, but nonsense. That's from me.
Wow, I love it.
It looks amazing.
That's cool.
Everybody's actually look amazing. Can I just say that? Because I was just like now touring everybody's. I didn't have the chance before. I really like, Isabel, what you did here with the greenery. I think this is awesome. This is so different from it. Actually, I mean, this is so different from everybody else. But then I looked to the left, and it's Christian, and I mean, I know it's Christian because it's his town. And then it's so different to everything else, And then you have like Gregg here.
You're the best.
Yeah, And then you have like Greg here, obviously. His style, he did like this amazing base. It's really amazing to look at from when you're small, like the correct size. And then you have me with the retro future thing, and then it's Ben with his kind of like lifelike things that have legs. So amazing, slightly scary.
So
And
awesome.
they might move again.
Yeah.
Yeah, they might be different
might
place.
might haunt me tonight, 7 out of 10. And
This is-
then we have like the hospital here.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I don't know if is it Ben? Oh, I think it's Ben's too, right? The hospital thing. I love that the fact that we all kind of forgot that we can hang things from the top.
Yes. Good call out, Ted.
And
Ben, that was sick.
yeah. And then he's like the only one
Thank you.
remember, I think.
And I love that it's consistent with the legs from the different
I know.
creatures created.
It's all from the same factory.
I was going to say it's a coincidence, no?
Same manufacturer.
That's hilarious.
There's lobbyism on Mars.
Yeah, you know, just gotta get in early, establish yourself.
All right. Well,
And then you have like JJ's to the left, which is a different breed, obviously, as always, JJ. It's so like look at this thing here. It's like if you go inside it's populated. It has a lot of things. It has like steps, and there's like this jellyfish in a transparent thing. It's a whole story here. I love this.
We're very passionate.
Thank you.
It's amazing. Oh, you were doing residential habitation. Oh my God, I'm just seeing this now. Look at these pods. These are fabulous.
I love these. It's so cool.
I
And
want a
then this
3D
is
model
Cuba.
printed on my desk of this entire city.
Yeah, this is freaking amazing. And Cuba went really wild this time.
Really
Like
weird.
really, really wild. Yeah, this is not. I feel like this is out of your character a bit.
Always
Slightly.
depending.
Well, everyone,
You
We
never
did
know.
that. So
we are way past time, but I just really thank all of you for your time. I really thank you for sticking through and pushing through the creative, maybe the creative pressure that there might have been doing this live, but and I thank everybody that stayed with us even through the little dip there that we had for a moment. But I just thank you, Metaverse Artisans, for joining us today for Live Sketch. It's been really fun actually getting to spend some time with you guys, the little time that we've spent online at least. And I hope that we can do another one of these. Maybe we do it in a different, maybe we mix it up and do something that's pre-made and do a different approach. I think that'd be really
We
cool.
have to because we have like some of us who couldn't like finish their stuff, and they are amazing artists. And yeah,
Oh,
like
yeah.
Manu, and yeah, like there are some people who got kicked out of the session early.
Yes, absolutely. Nick, especially Nick and Manuel. It's we need to see
Yeah.
you guys' we need to see guys your creativity. Yeah,
Yeah.
we're sorry that the collab was just.
I
not
had a
working for you
blast.
guys today.
I think that this was a great experience as well because it allows us to keep on talking while the others were like managing their hands, and I think it kept the live entertaining, and everybody showed up, and we don't even see that there is two missing pieces. The thing is so cohesive. It's amazing.
Yeah, there was no room for what we were going to build anyway. So.
Yeah.
Oh, we make room. We make room.
Oh man, well, amazing work, guys, and thank you so much again for your time. Really, especially we're going over time, but thank you very much, and thank you everyone out there. If you missed it, you can go back and watch it as soon as it's over. So make sure you go and replay. But yeah, appreciate everyone, and that's it. Goodbye, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you so
you.
much.
Bye.
Yeah.
Bye.
See you later.